Hello and welcome back to 3D Drawing for your Model Railway. We said in today's lesson we're going to look at doing the drive chain that went across here. Before we do that though, I think it'd be a good idea if we get the bearing in this side here. Now my initial thought was maybe just redrawing it from the other side, but then what I thought maybe what we could do is just mirror over some of the basic geometry of this plate here, and then we could draw on a separate bearing because it's going to be a smaller diameter than the motor for the top part. So if we start by, let's get mirrored across, so make sure we've got the crane body turned on, and then we'll go back through this sketch history here looking for this plate. For pipes. Okay, so here we are, this is the bits we're after here. So we select, escape all that one there, that profile there. So we're using Control to hold down while we select both of these, and then we can come up here to mirror. We need to mirror across this centre plane we've got here, and we've got to try and find that centre plane. So that's 9's down there, that mid plane's there, that's the one up. So plane 7 is our mid plane. We can mirror that across. Okay, so we've now got that feature there. We can just now draw the circle bearing on the middle there. Okay, so turn the plane off, and then we can create a sketch on that face. Find the midpoint there, and the midpoint there. Make sure they intersect. That's too high. Let's turn those off. Okay, 0.6 millimeters. I think we were doing the circles on the other side. Define the height. 0.5. And then we can just extrude this forwards a little bit to give it some relief. Okay, so that's that bearing copied across. Okay, so next we're going to do is this gear shaft here. Okay, I brought this photo up here because it shows this shaft quite interesting. You would think it's just looking side on. If we look here, it looks like it's just a round shaft casing. But when you come to this photo here, you can see there's actually a plate that goes all the way in. Now, that could well be just there to help support the outside casing. But that will help us really with the printing, because that means that this item isn't just going to be floating in midair. It will actually be supported by the main body of the crane, which is really quite useful for us. Also, looking at this sort of object here, this is a sort of object when I first started in CAD that I would look at and think, how on earth am I going to do that? How am I going to draw this shape here and then get a slightly smaller one and then start again? I'm working out how to try and draw it at an angle. Initially, when I was doing this sort of thing, I was thinking, well, surely I must just draw it on this face and just drag outwards. But actually, it's a lot more simpler if you think about it. If we just create an offset plane from this face, that's at the angle that we require. Because if you look at the picture, that is horizontally matching the gearbox here, which would make sense. So if we just offset that plane and bring it out slightly, it's not a massive gap there, so we're probably only going to need probably less than a millimeter, probably going to go about 0.8. And then we can just create the shape that we're looking for on that profile. And you can see that spun it around. We're going to have to spin this round to make it a little bit easier to see. Initially, we'll start by drawing just a circle. Okay, so we'll go, let's go 1.4 I think initially, and then we'll draw 2 lines on that circle that go into the body here. And we want these lines, we want them to be tangent to the circle. Okay, simple little thing there, just clicking that tangent constraint. Okay, do the same on this side, go into the body and tangent the line to the circle. Okay. So what we'll do then is we'll then have to close this up. So we'll draw a line down here just to close that profile. We're then able to select the profile like this, and we'll extrude it a little bit. Just again, extrude it a little bit just to see how that looks. Okay, make sure that's not cutting too far through. Not coming too far. Yes, it is. So is it going all the way through? Yeah. So we're going to need to move that line in a little bit on our sketch. Okay. Which isn't an issue because we'll just come back into the sketch and we'll reduce that line's position like that. Okay, so come back to selecting the profiles and extrude. Join. Okay, so let's look at how that's looking here. So we can see that's coming down at an angle, which is fine. It looks like it does cut through this bearing's position up here. Okay. We maybe want to move it down slightly, but we'll see how it comes across. Okay, so let's see how far that large section goes. So that goes just to the other side of here. So we're 2 millimeters, comes just to the other side of the bearing here if we look at the picture. Just to the other side of the bearing. Okay, and then the next thing, if we click OK there, how do we get this smaller? Well, it's not as difficult as you think. If you create a sketch on that surface, you don't need to redraw the geometry, just do offset, turn off chain tangent, select those 3 outsides, change it to minus 0.3, click on OK. You've now got that same profile internally. All you then need to do, if we just draw that line to make sure it goes through the bodywork there, closes that profile up, then we can extrude that profile. Okay, so if we then zoom back out, how far does this come across? Let's find a better photo that shows that bit there. There. So it's going most of the way across the window before it changes back to the large cross section. So if we come, say like that, tell it to join, click on OK. And then all we need to do is do the opposite of what we did here with the offset. So again, we'll come, draw a profile here, let's rotate that back around, and then we'll offset, selecting chain selection because that's fine with this, and it was a 0.3 reduction, so we want a 0.3 increase, and then we just select those profiles, and then we extrude into that body. Okay, initially it's going to cut, we'll just tell it to join, click on OK. Okay, so that's how we get that profile going all the way across. Okay, the next thing we need to do is, if you look in here, that's actually cutting into the window, and we don't want that. Okay, so what we can do is if we go into sectional analysis, where is that? Inspect, and then sectional analysis, and we'll come from this face here and extrude inwards. Okay, and click on OK. What we then get up the top is this analysis here, which we can turn that on and off whenever we need to. So essentially all we've done is cut the body in half so we can actually see inside. And then if we just extrude this surface to where we want it to be. It's probably gone a little bit too far there. 0.45 maybe. Yeah, looks okay. So what it's trying to do there is extrude horizontally. So to get rid of this bit at the top here, just do the same again. Extrude that upwards. Okay. That's going to be pretty much hidden. You could fill that in if you want to with a loft here. Should do this. So from that profile to that profile, and that fills that gap in. Easy there. Okay, and then on this side we just should be able to extrude. If we just come, let's try and close that up a little bit if we can, like that. Okay, again, it's not really going to be seen back here, but we can close this in using the loft tool. So that profile to that profile filled in. Okay, and that's also reduced that width there, so we're now not cutting into the window, and you can get your glazing in there when you go to glaze it. Okay, nice and simple. If we go back up to the top here, we can then turn that analysis off to put the other side back on. Okay. So there we go. There we've got our drive shaft going across there. Okay, and it's helped us because it's now supported on this back plane here, which is good. Okay, so yeah, nice little easy lesson for today, and that's really making this side start to look complete. So I'm really pleased with how this side's coming along. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave them below. Please do make sure you like and subscribe the videos to keep in touch when new videos are uploaded. Thanks for watching.